Yes.
So we just start the second unit, growth and development. Just started, sir. Just talked
Started.
about
No,
it.
right. Okay. Did I share a presentation with you?
No, I think.
No. Okay. I'll now share a presentation, and with that we'll start. Okay. Then, huh? Right.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Can you see it now? Hello.
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can't see the screen, no? One minute. Now can you see? Hello.
Uh, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That is psychology one, no? Right? Earlier
Yes.
one minute. Okay. So we are starting growth and development of children. Right. Okay. I'm going to start from the beginning so that we can discuss. Okay, growth and development of children. Okay, now we talk about growth. Okay, and also we talk about development. Now, what is the difference between growth and development? Have you any idea about the difference between growth and development? Yes.
So growth is a quantitative growth, some aspect that can see that child is growing like quantitative way. And development means some qualitative.
Yeah, actually, yeah, quite right in that, right? Now, growth, we when we talk about growth, we refer to quantitative change of weight or length, weight, or things like that, right? Basically, when we talk about children, it is the growth of growth. When we use the term growth to talk about the height, weight, and things like that, because when there is a quantitative increase of these things, we say that there is a growth. But development is a more complex aspect. It involves the maturation of that growth. Maturation of that growth. That means it involves a qualitative improvement, qualitative improvement of the growth. Now, say for example, when a child is 16 or 17 years old, right? He has grown up. I mean, he has reached his full height basically when he's about 18 years. But though he has reached his full height, his limbs and all that haven't become strong. For their body parts to become stronger and to add muscles to their body and to make it qualitatively strong, right? It requires another 2 or 3 years. So it refers to development, same height, but the muscles, there is a bulging of muscles is there, strengthening of muscles is there. Likewise, qualitative improvement is there. It is not only quantitative improvement, but qualitative improvement as well. So when we use the term development, we are talking not only of the quantitative development, but also of the qualitative development. Right now, look here. Development refers to a learning and mastering skills in 4 categories: physical, emotional, mental, and social. Okay. When we talk about child development, we are talking about the development of 4 aspects. Those are physical aspect, emotional aspect, mental mental aspect, and social aspect. Actually, we are going to study the development under these categories. First thing is physical development. Second thing is cognitive development. Then social development, and then emotional development. Right. Let's go to the next one. What are the 4 areas we are going to discuss? Hello.
Cognitive mean mental development.
Yeah. Cognitive means mental development. Yes. Right. So there are 4 areas we are going to discuss. Physical development first, then cognitive development, which is referred to here as mental development, then social development, and emotional development. Right. We call it social and moral development. Right. Let's go to the next stage. Right. So physical. Let's see what physical means. Physical development involves these 2 categories: broad motor skills and what?
Fine motor.
Yes.
Fine motor skills.
Yeah. Broad motor skills and fine motor skills. We will discuss these things. Broad motor skills such as rolling over, standing, walking, running, and sitting, as well as being able to maintain balance, change positions, etc. Right, as well as right. There are some other areas. There is another skill called fine motor skill, which includes using fingers and hands, like to clutch, eat, draw, dress, play. Right now, you are running means it is a broad motor skill, but if you are using your fingers to draw a picture, you are using your fine motor skills. You are using your hands to catch something. That means you are using your fine motor skills. Do you understand the difference between these motor skills? Broad motor skills involves your limbs, total of your limbs, right? Whereas fine motor skills involves only some parts of your limbs. So I think it is clear to you. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what are emotional skills? What are emotional skills? Now, emotions actually, it doesn't come under physical development, it comes under emotional development. Emotional skills means our ability to control our emotions. Now, there are occasions when we are unable to control our emotions. So sometimes it causes a big loss. Now, say for example, you get angry over something. Right? When you are angry, right, you behave in a violent manner. So that violent behavior might not really do any good to you, and it might be very harmful to you. So what we learn through emotional development is how to control our emotions, and what kind of activities are required to control our children's emotions, and how we help them to develop their emotional skills. So we will discuss all these things in broadly when we come to the relevant topic. Let's see. Let's read what is there in the slide. How she reacts to events and occurrences around her, the child. Does she giggle and laugh at the silent things, or is she distant? Silliest things, or is she distant? As she matures, does she learn to deal with events, or does she get frustrated and angry? These questions tells you about what kind of situations are associated with emotional skills. Actually, it is all about controlling our emotions. Now, if we talk about a small child, when the child sees something, right, the child asks for it, right? If he is not able to get it, he will cry, or he will shout, he will cry, and all that, right? So that is because he is not able to control his emotions. But when the same thing happens to an adult or an elder child, right, he or she might be able to control his or her emotions, and might not really break down or shout or behave violently. That is because emotional development has taken place in them. But in the meantime, even you can see even some adults behave very childishly, very violently, and very foolishly when they are emotionally charged. That is because they haven't developed their emotional control. So we are going to discuss this emotional control under emotional development. Mental or cognitive skills, and this is the most important next to physical development. This is the most important subject or the topic, because we are the people who deal with education. So as the people who deal with education, we always talk about the cognitive skills or mental skills. Sometimes we tend to say, this child is bright, and this child is dull, and this child is average, likewise. So we, although it is not proper to categorize like that, we do that categorizing based on the visible cognitive skills of the children. Right. So we are going to under this, we are not going to discriminate children, but we are going to learn what causes those differences in intelligence, and also and why it happens, and as well as how we can help develop their cognitive skills by supporting by as teachers, by supporting, playing the scaffolding role, and also what other means and what other means and strategies we can use to make them reach their cognitive development. And also we are going to learn about what kind of mental changes and mental skills occur in them from time to time. So we are going to study some great scientists who have dedicated their lifetime on this. Especially you will come to learn about a person called Piaget, who spent about 20 years and has experimented with his wife, who happened to be one of his students. And also he studied all his 3 children for a period of over 20 years in order to demarcate some stages of changes and certain skills they are able to perform at a given age group. So we learn it under Piaget. And also there are some other scientists like Vygotsky and Brunner, who also have contributed a lot as far as cognitive development of children is concerned. So we are going to under this topic, we are going to discuss all these people. Right, let's go to the next slide. Social skills. So what are social skills? Social skills are known as people skills as well. And also, right, presently we call it, some people are people smart. What is meant by people social skills? So being people smart, that means you are, it means the ability of an individual to deal with his environment and environment, especially his colleagues and the people in his society. So as a social being, we have a very big role to play. We are playing many roles as well. So we happen to interact with a variety of people. So if you have developed skills to deal with people and how to win them over, and how to get their approval, and how to support them, right? How to win their trust, faith, and all these things, we say that person has become people smart. So these are social skills. These are skills which we can develop, but we can see many people haven't developed these skills. That is why people are not able to get along with others. People are not able to understand others. People are not able to support others. People are not able to convince others. People are not ready to listen to others. People are not ready to empathize with others. This is all because they haven't developed their social skills. So development of social skills also is a very important aspect when it comes to talking about child development. You will see right now there are doctors, right, who have developed their mentality, but they haven't developed their social skills and also their emotional skills. As a result, they are capable of committing crimes, right? And now we have heard about certain doctors. I heard a few years ago, one doctor from Nigambo Hospital raped his own patient and push her down from 10th floor onto the ground and killed her, right? So we can see this kind of people, they have developed their cognition, but they haven't developed their social skills or emotional skills. That is why they are able to commit that kind of heinous crimes. So the child we are going to develop, or the child the child whom we are going to mold as teachers is should not become a monster like that. So we should not make him a nihilist. That is why we need to develop all these skills in them, right? We'll see what are social skills according to the slide. Have to do with social, personal interactions, developing and maintaining relationship with family, friends, and teachers. Cooperating and being sensitive while responding to others, And also, right, how whether now we are talking about the person right now. Now let's say it is a girl. Does she withdraw at parties? Does she enjoy large gatherings of being around as a small group of friends? And how does she navigate and interpret the social world around her? This is all about how a person adapt himself or herself to the society. So actually social function is a very important function, and some people, now you might have seen, right, are very good at associating people and winning friends and making friends. There are people who always have a lot of friends, but in the meantime you can see some children, they are always introverted, and they usually don't like to get into groups. They don't like to associate people. They prefer to live alone, right? So these people have a real issue with their social development. So we have to think about, right? We have to see what problems have caused them to behave indifferently. So we should always encourage our children to become social creatures and to develop their social skills. Right? We will talk about what kind of developments occur in them, and also what kind of development we can force to occur in them. Okay, now we come to the first aspect of development, that is physical development, right? So under physical development, right, especially about growth, right, we can divide the period of a child into different stages. Now you can see here early childhood, birth to 8 years, middle childhood 8 to 12 years, and adolescence 12 to 18 years. But there is one missing part here, that is called prenatal period. So under child development, we are going to discuss 4 stages. The first one is prenatal period. Second one is usually, right, we call it toddlerhood or infancy, that is 0 to 2 years. Then 2 to 7 years, we call it pre-childhood or the early childhood. Then 7 to 11 years, we call it the late childhood. Then 11 onwards, right, we call it adolescence, until the child become an adult at the age of 18, right? Under child development, can you write down this, please? Can you take a small note? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, in the note, you write down like this, right? Child development. First, write child development. Right. Now, write, please. Under child development, we are going to study what changes and developments take place in a child take place in a child under 4 areas. Under 4 areas. Full stop. They are: number 1, physical development. Number 2, cognitive development, right? In bracket, you can write down mental development. Number 3, social and moral development. Social and moral development. Number 4, emotional development. Now write down the difference between growth and development. Write down the difference between growth and development. Growth refers to increase in height or weight. Full stop. It is basically a quantitative improvement. Example, if a child increases his height by a few inches or his weight by a few kilos, it can be termed as growth. Whereas development means not only the quantitative improvement, but also the qualitative improvement. Example, if a child strengthens his body as a result of maturity, as well as his efforts to develop his muscles, it is development. Full stop. We can see that the child has achieved quantitative improvement in terms of increase in his height as well as qualitative improvement in terms of strengthening his muscles, so that he can perform more complex task using his hands or legs. Right. So that is the difference between now. Not is over. Now we have taken down the 4 major areas and also the 2 basic ideas about that we are going to deal with by growth and development. Now we know growth is quantitative development, whereas development is both quantitative and qualitative development. Are these clear to you? Hello.
Yes, sir. Can clear that.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
So let's go to the next slide. Right. So under now early childhood we are going to discuss, but I would prefer you to take down the notes the way I am telling you, not according to how it is there in the presentation, because this is a kind of a common presentation, because early childhood we here, right, the childhood stages, right, it includes, but right, it is not the way we usually do. So take down like this, right. Take down a topic as physical development. Topic physical development. Under this, right, we are going to discuss these 4 areas. Write down likewise, right. Physical development. Under physical development, take a note. Under physical development, we are going to study the following stages of development of children. Number 1, prenatal stage. Prenatal stage, PRE apostrophe natal, prenatal stage. Prenatal stage. Right. Number 2, now this prenatal stage is from in brackets you can write down the period from conception up until birth. Up until birth. It is called prenatal period, prenatal stage or prenatal period. Right. The second stage is infancy or toddlerhood. Infancy or toddlerhood. That is from 0 to 2 years. Then from 3 to 7 years, early childhood. Then from 8 to, yes? Any issues?
So 2 to 7 pre-childhood age belong to 3 to 7 or 2 to 7.
Actually, here what I said was like this now, 0 to 2, right? 0 to 2 is 0 to 2 is what?
Uh,
Infancy. Infancy, right?
infant.
So a child who is 2 years is an infant, right? But when a child is 3 years, he belongs to what?
Pre-child. Pre-child.
Yeah, early childhood, right? We can say it, that also can be divided into two categories, but we'll come to that, right? You can say even 2 to 8 also, but I included because when the child is 3 years old, we could call him not an infant, but when he's 2 years, we call him infant. But now you are referring to the period between 3 and 4, the months, is it? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Now different books give different ideas about this, right? So, right, it is basically 0 to 2 years infancy, right? That means then we call it 3 to 8, but even 2 to 8 also you can consider, because that is roughly we are talking about the same idea. That means if a child is 24 months old or less, see from 0, that is the period of infancy. 24 months or less, 24 months or more, that means after 2 years, he belongs to pre-childhood, right? So, or early childhood, we call it early childhood, right? So the durations we can put like this: 0 to 2 infancy. Okay. Then 2 onwards, after 2, after completing 2. So, okay, take down 2 to 8, early childhood. Then 8 to 11, late childhood, third stage. Then from 11 to 18, adolescence. Okay, now what are the stages? Did you write down?
Yes, sir.
Huh? First is prenatal. What is it? I can't.
Infant.
Wait. Listen to me again. Prenatal period. What is it? Prenatal period. How to spell prenatal? Pre-natal, natal, period, period. Okay, that is from 0 to 2 years. Clear? Is it clear to you? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Then,
sir.
then you get early childhood, oh sorry, infancy or toddlerhood. Again, prenatal period from conception to birth. Sorry, yeah, did I say it from 0 to 2? No. Prenatal period is the time from conception up until birth. Clear?
Yes.
Then infancy or toddlerhood. Infancy, how to spell infancy? INFANCY. Infancy. Toddlerhood. Toddlerhood, right? Toddlerhood, infancy or toddlerhood. That is from, you can say 2 to 8. Then, sorry, to toddlerhood 0 to 2. Sorry, toddlerhood 0 to 2. Prenatal period from conception up until birth. Then toddlerhood 0 to 2. Then pre-childhood 2 to 8. Pre-childhood, or what we call early childhood, not pre-childhood, early childhood. early childhood 2 to 8, then late childhood 8 to 11, then adolescence 11 to 18. Some books might give you certain references, 1 year or two differences between the early childhood and late childhood, as well as adolescence. Right? But it is around this period these changes occur. Right? Roughly, they are right. Right. So we are going to discuss in detail what happens during these stages. Right? What are the 4 stages? Now you can see. So here we are going to discuss some common features. After that, I will give you in detail description. Right. Now, during the prenatal period, right? Actually, what happens during the prenatal period? Yes. Have you got any idea as to what happens? Yes. Hello.
Growth some parts of the child.
Is it an important period of our life or not?
Very, very important period.
It's the
Sir.
most important. It is the most important period of our time, and this is the time during which the highest growth takes place. Relatively, the highest growth take place of a human being during this prenatal period. A child, we are going to talk about this. Now, what is, how do we get life? Right. What is the early stage? Where does it happen? Who is responsible? You know, right, in biology, you might have learned the beginning of life, right, is started with one cell. How it happens is, we all know, a father and mother should contribute to conceive a child. Their father issues sperms and mother issues egg cells. Usually, mother issues one egg cell for 28 days, whereas father has an unlimited amount of sperms. In the physical union of father and mother, sperms of father invades into mother's ovary, and the strongest and earliest sperm goes and finds the eggshell, and it breaks into the eggshell. So this union of egg cell and sperm is known as mutation. What is the term given for this? Yes. When egg cell joins a sperm, it is given that process of joining is given a special scientific name. It is called mutation. What is it called?
Mutation.
Hello? Mutation. What is meant by mutation? Hurry up.
It's a process of egg and the sperm process.
Actually, it is the act of egg cell joining. Sperm joining an egg cell. Right. Then how many egg cells do mothers have? How many egg cells? Hello. At a time, only one, right? For a period of 28 days, only one egg cell is released from the ovaries. Right? Ovary is the place where egg cells are created. And where are the sperms created? Hello. Yes. Where are the sperms created? Yes. Where? In testicles. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
So, egg cells are very limited, only 1 in 28 days. But sperms are not limited, they are unlimited, basically, right? There are many sperms, right? But only one sperm is able to, out of thousands or thousands of sperms, only one is able to successfully joins the only egg cell. So this one specific sperm joining the egg cell is known as mutation. So at the time of mutation, what happens is it makes a single cell called zygote. What does it make? When a sperm joins a egg cell, it is given a special name called what? Zygote. ZYGOT, zygote. What is the term?
Zygote.
Zygote. In Sinhalese, you call it yuktanu. In Sinhalese, you called it yuktanu. You might have learned it when you were doing your bioscience. If you have done bioscience for A level or for science for your O levels. Right. Now, the wonder with this shell is, right, this single shell. It starts as only a single shell, but this one single shell shell division. This shell division is known as, now joining of a sperm with the egg is called mutation, and it makes one single cell called what?
Zygote.
This zygote is a single cell at the initial day, on the first day, but the second day it starts shell division. That means the single shell is divided into two. Then by the third day it becomes 4, then 8 likewise, right? When it is about 7 days, it reaches up to it divides into about 100 cells. Once it reaches that stages, it started creating two different type combinations of cells, inner shells and outer shells. These inner shells form the baby, while the outer shells form the supporting system for the baby to develop in mother's womb. So we are going to discuss all these things in detail, right? So I have a special session for you under this prenatal period, because this is a very important stage, and we are going to discuss this on a weekly basis. After 2 weeks, what happens? After 4 weeks, what happens? After 24 weeks, what happens? Likewise, in detail, right? We are going to discuss this, because these stages, all these stages are very important for us. Actually, it is important not only as teachers, but also as parents, prospective mothers or fathers, right? For both males and females, right? This is very important, because uh, uh, all of you are going to become parents one day, or maybe you are already parents. So some of the things we do, right, during this pregnancy, right, might decide the future of our child. We have seen some children are born without limbs, without eyes, without ears, and without some body parts. And most of them are biological accidents caused by us, right, due to our lack of knowledge. Sometimes we do certain things without knowing how much harm it would do to our child. So there are stages, right? Especially, right, after 2 weeks, after 2 months, likewise, right? Body parts start forming. During this period, we should not take hard drugs, medicines, I mean, not really recreational drugs. Recreational drugs are anyway harmful, but medicines, drugs means here medicines, right? Certain strong medicines, right? If we take, it can very badly affect the child's growth. Likewise, there are many things, right, which we unwittingly do sometimes cause a lot of damage to the children, and they will suffer for a lifetime due to that. So that as teachers, not only as teachers, but also as adults or as parents, it is very important to know each and every stage of child development, especially prenatal development. So I am going to spend more than 1 hour for this. Then this zygote, right, develops, and it becomes a thing called embryo. This embryo become a fetus. Finally, the child is delivered. So it's a process. It's a long process, though it is about 9 months. Right? It's a very long process, and it involves a lot of sacrifices, and also a lot of commitments on the part of the parents. And finally, a healthy child would be born. But it won't happen all of a sudden. We have to do a lot of sacrifices on that behalf. We are going to discuss all these things in detail. So once the child is born, right, then he becomes a newborn, right? During the first month of life, newborns exhibit automatic responses to external stimuli, which are known as reflex actions. We will discuss. A newborn is able to see close-up objects, recognize certain smells, smile or cry to indicate a need, and move his or her head from side to side. Some of the actions here they are able to do are known as reflex actions. Some of the reflex actions mentioned here are seeing and recognizing smells, smiling, and crying. These are the things they are able to do. And also they can reach mother's breast, and they can grasp things. So these are basic reflex actions. Newborns may show signs of developmental disabilities, such as spina bifida, genetic disorders, and fetal alcohol syndrome, right? We will discuss all these things with name, right? Actually, we are talking about here, we know, right, as soon as a child is born, if the child is crying, right, it is a sign of, is it a good sign or a bad sign? Hello.
Good sign.
It's a
Good
good
sign.
sign. If he's not really responding, or if he has passive responses, that it's a bad sign, right? So we are going to discuss all these things under that category, right? So infant is what? After the child is born, it is an infant, right? So at 3 to 6 months, an infant can control his head movements and bring his hands together. They are the only movements he can do at this stage. By 6 to 9 months old, an infant can sit without support, babble and respond to his name. Between 9 and 12 months, all baby can pick up objects, crawl, and even stand with support. As children reach the ages between 1 and 3 years, toddlers learn to walk without help, climb stairs, and jump in place. They can hold a crayon, draw a circle, stack one block on top of another, use short sentences, and even follow simple instructions. Right. Now you might have a doubt. At some stage we call it is only 0 to 2, but now here it, right, here it says up to 3 years also, because we can't exactly say draw a line and say it is like this, but it is kind of marginal. Some children perform certain actions earlier than the others, while the others do it later than the usual one. So likewise, there are individual differences as well. So between the ages of 3 and 5 years, children refine their motor skills. They can throw a ball overhand, skip and hop, stand on one foot, and kind of things. Then the school age from 6 to 12 years old. Right. Actually, 6 to 12 years here means, right, a child is put into the school when he's 5 years old. Right. So then, right, when he's 12 years old, he goes to grade 7. So school age children here, right here, they are defined as 6 to 12 years old. So their capabilities are, they are capable, confident, independent, and responsible. They form peer relationships with especially friends of the same gender, right? And the older school age child begins to develop sexual characteristics. When they come to 12 ages, age to 11 or 12, we say that they are reaching adolescence. It is during this period that they show some signs of sexual development. Right. 0 to 1 years, right. Some of their physical movements, motor developments, cognitive development, language development, and social developments, all these are given here. But I will now, although these charts are there, I will discuss this one by one. So you can see these things, right? So stages of child development, you can see, right? Prenatal means before the child is born, right? Then 0 to 2 years, it is the right. Let's take a note, right? Did I give a note on stages of child development? Hello.
Yes, sir, you gave.
Right. What are the stages I gave you? Prenatal.
Prenatal, infancy, early childhood, late childhood, adolescence.
What is the period for prenatal period?
Conception up until birth.
Conception. That means, right, conception means the mutation, right? Then toddlerhood or infancy. What is the period? Toddlerhood or infancy?
0 to 2.
0 to 2. Okay. Then early childhood?
2 to 8.
2 to 8. Basically, some people call it 3 to 8 also. Huh? Right? Okay. Then 8 to 11. No, 8 to, sometimes it is called 12 also. Right. Late
Late
child.
child.
Beyond 11 or 12 up until 18, it is adolescence. Right. Okay, we'll take a small note on prenatal development. Write down, please. Prenatal development is the period from conception up until birth. This is the period of highest development of an individual's life. Within this period of 9 to 10 months, a single cell develops into an infant weighing about 4 to 5 kilos and with an average height of 9 to 12 inches. The conception takes place as a result of mutation in which a sperm from the father joins an egg cell from the mother. Full stop. This union of male and female shells, this union of eggshell and sperm is known as mutation. Full stop. It results in a single cell. Called zygote. Full stop. This zygote which begins as a single cell rapidly start multiplying rapidly begins a begins a cell division as a result what was a single cell on day 1 becomes about 100 cells after 5 to 6 days. This cell division is known as meiosis. It usually starts as one cell divides into 2 and 2 into 4, 4 into 8 likewise.
Sir, can I know the word again? The cell division means as a
Meiosis, meiosis. Meiosis. Right. After about 2 weeks, after 8 days, after 8 days, inner cells form the child and the outer shells form the supporting system for the child to survive in the womb. Full stop. We will discuss these details, we will discuss these steps in detail. So we are going to discuss how these things happen in detail. I'm going to share another PowerPoint which explain all these things, right? Right. So these stages we are going to discuss in detail, right? So give me a few minutes until I share the next slideshow, which contains details about pre-childhood. Sorry, prenatal period. Okay. Can you see my screen? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Now this is a bit of a very a bit of a long booklet like thing, but it contains all the things, right? So you can use it as a reference material, right? But if it is too complex, you tell me, I will explain. But anyway, I'm going to explain now. Can you see it now? This contains everything about child growth and development. So it contains it is a very it's an e-book which contains a lot of information. Can you see it now? Hello. Can you see it? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Now it contains
Yeah.
here we'll see, right? The first thing, it is about introduction to child development, right? So you can read this, right? So under these things, we are going to learn these things, describe the principles that underlie development, differentiate periods of human development, evaluate issues in development, distinguish the different methods of beyond fourth objective, right? It's not that very important for us. Up to fourth objective, it's important. Introduction, right? Welcome to child growth and development. This text is a presentation of how and why child grow, develop, and learn. We will look at how we change physically over time from conception through adolescence. We examine cognitive change, or how our ability to think and remember changes over the first 20 years of also of life. And we will look at how our emotions, psychological state, and social relationships change throughout childhood and adolescence. Principles of development. There are several underlying principles of development to keep in mind. What are they? Development is a lifelong and change is apparent across the lifespan. Development is multi-directional. We show gains in some areas of development while showing loss in other areas. Development is a multi-dimensional. We change across three general dimensions. They are physical, cognitive, and social and emotional. The physical domain includes changes in height and weight, changes in gross and fine motor skills, sensory capabilities, and nervous system, as well as the propensity for disease and illness. The cognitive domain encompasses the changes in intelligence, wisdom, perception, problem solving, memory, and language. The social and emotional domain focuses on changes in emotion, self-perception, and interpersonal relationship with families, peers, and friends. Right. Now, this is about the book. You'll have to read it, right? Now, these are the periods of development, as I mentioned you, right? Prenatal development, conception through birth, infancy and toddlerhood, from birth to 2 years, early childhood, right? Actually, early childhood, right, you can divide into two categories as mentioned here. Early childhood from 3 to 5 years, and middle childhood from 6 to 11 years, right? Actually, middle childhood is also referred to as late childhood, as mentioned earlier. Then adolescence from 12 years to adulthood. Even this definition you can write down. Now we are going to see what happens in the prenatal development. Conception occurs and development begins. All of the major structures of the body are forming, and the health of the mother is of primary concern. Understanding nutrition, tetrogens, or environmental factors that can lead to birth defect and labor and delivery are primary concerns. Right. Infancy and toddlerhood. Right. First period is prenatal development. In that we are going to discuss those things we discuss. Then infancy and toddlerhood. The 2 years of life are one of the most dramatic growth and change. A newborn with a keen sense of hearing but very poor vision is transformed into a walking, talking toddler within a relatively short period of time. Caregivers are also transformed from someone who manage feeding and sleep schedules to a constantly moving guide and safety inspector for a mobile, energetic child. Okay, now under prenatal development, what are the things we are going to discuss? What? See here, prenatal development, conception, right? And how the development occurs, how what kind of nutritional factors and the other things contribute to the growth, and the stages of this growth we are going to discuss under prenatal development. Under infancy and toddlerhood, we are going to discuss some of the things mentioned here. You can have a look at it. Then early childhood. Likewise, you can read it. Now I'll come to okay, right. Now, before talking about prenatal development, right, there are two areas we have to discuss. They are heredity and environment. What is the do you understand what is meant by heredity and what is understood by environment? Right. What really helps us to develop? Is it heredity or environment or both? We are going to discuss. Right. Now you have seen some children are very talented. Which has caused it? Right. Is it heredity or environment? Yes.
Both.
Very good. Now suppose, right, there is a child who is born, who is born with a very good heredity, means he inherits good genes from his parents, rich genes. Okay, right. But he is brought up in a very bad environment, not in a rich environment. Will he be able to attain his full potential? Now suppose a
No.
child born to a very intelligent parent, right? Somehow or other happen to be, right, say drop somewhere, right? And he is brought up by some right people who are looking for a child from very poor conditions. Now we can say from maybe people who are living in shanties or something, right? But that is the child has got a very good intelligence. I mean, from his he's very rich in his genes. But will he be able to, right? But the environment he is growing up is not rich. What will happen to this child? Will he be able to actualize the will he be able to actualize the full potential of his energy or not? Hello.
No, so I think
No, no, sir.
No, right.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, right, suppose a person with weak genes are born to a very rich family, a family of very educated people, right? But somehow or other, right, genes of this child is not that good, right? Maybe although both the parents are educated, right? He hasn't right now. We all know in our genes we have active genes and dominant and dormant genes, right? Sometimes dormant genes also can be transferred to our children, right? So this is the reason sometimes two very dark parents get fair children. That may be right, maybe right about 3-4 generations above, right? Some white genes were involved in the family history, but they had been dormant for a long time, and all of a sudden they are emerged and a white baby is born, right? Sometimes these kind of things lead to some family issues also, but right now you might have seen when I was small I saw a teledrama or something also like that, right? But actually the reason when it was found out, the reason was that dormant genes, right, become inactive. It can also happen, right? Now my question is, now suppose right now a child born to a very rich environment, right, is not having the having right proper genes. I mean, he's not intelligent, but he's given all the facilities, right, and a very rich environment. Will he able to achieve the highest potential again? Hello.
No.
No. Why? Because he has limitations in his genes. So if we want to make a genius, what should that person have? He should have good genes as well as a good environment. Is it clear to you? Right?
Yes, sir.
So for the development, not only for physical development, but also for especially for mental development, two factors are very important. What are those factors? Heredity and environment. Right. Let's take a small note and go. Right now, this note is there for you. I have shared it. You can download it and you can read it in I mean, you don't try to read the whole book, okay? But I will demarcate you the areas you have to read, right? Because it contains more information than necessary. And if you want to improve your knowledge about psychology and child development and all that fully, you can spend time to read it because it is very it's really informative. But for our purpose, for passing the exam and getting the required knowledge for this for that particular purpose, if you read only the areas I am going to ask you to read is enough. Is it clear to you? Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Right. So we'll take a note. In between, I am giving you my note as well. Right. But when you refer to this, you can get more information. Right. Now let's see. Right. Now the right. You start. Right. Contribution of heredity and environment. Small topic. Contribution of heredity and environment. Here we are going to learn what is heredity first. Right. This heredity, right? Heredity and environment. This is also known as nature and nurture. This is also known as nature and nurture. Write down heredity. Heredity means genetic information passed from parents to children through their genes. These genes have chromosomes which carry biological information like the color of complexion, the shape of the body, comma, levels of intelligence, comma, color of eyes and hair, and many other genetic information. No. Environmental means the setting in which a child grows or is educated. It is the constant interplay between heredity and the environment that contribute to the development of child. Development of a child. Right. Now, so note is stop the note for a while. Now read this, what is given in this part called heredity, nature and nurture. Now let's read what is given there. Most scholars agree that there is a constant interplay between nature and nurture. Now what they say, there is a interplay between nature means heredity and nurture means the environment. It is difficult to isolate the root of any single characteristic as a result solely of nature or nurture. That means, now suppose a certain person has a certain characteristic, certain feature, we can't say whether it is because of, basically it is very difficult, we can say, but it is not, we can't purely say whether it is a result of intelligence, it is a result of heredity or nurture. Right. Now, heredity means nature, nurture means environment. Right. That's what it says. It is difficult to isolate the root of any single characteristic as a result solely of nature or nurture. And most scholars believe that even determining the extent to which nurture imparts a human feature is difficult to answer. In fact, almost all human features are polygenic. That means a result of many genes. The multifactorial means a result of many factors, and both genetic and environment. It is as if one's genetic makeup sets up a range of possibilities which may or may not be realized depending upon one's environmental experiences. For instance, a person might be genetically predisposed to develop diabetes, but the person's lifestyle may determine whether or not they actually develop the disease. Likewise, this bidirectional interplay between nature and nurture is the epigenetic framework, which suggests that the environment can affect the expression of genes just as genetic predispositions. Do you understand what it means? Hello? Is it a bit tough for you to understand? Hello?
It's clear, sir.
I mean, is it clear or is it difficult for you to understand? I mean, Anik, give me an answer, please.
So it's clear.
It's
It's
clear,
clear.
sir.
Okay, right. So what we understand is for our development, both heredity and environment are important. Actually, our genes carry some genetic information, but realization of that information sometimes depend on the environment we are growing up. Is it understood now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. You may read this part, right? Because this is very important book. That's why I'm sharing. But when I'm sharing this book, I have got some complaints that it is too difficult for some people, right? So that's why I'm trying to explain important areas, right? And if you can understand, it's a really good book, right? So this, right. So these things you can read. Some of these words are not really very important, no? Right? We are not going to discuss as far as these things might call environmental correlations refer to the processes by which genetic factors contributed to the variations in the environment. So these names, flow, mean, difference, nofis, all these are not important, right? There are three types of genetic environmental correlations. So how this happens is there, you can read it, but we are not, these things are not asking question papers or anything, but you can, for your information, you can read it. So I'm not going to discuss all that because it's not that important. Okay, let's see what are the difference between genes and chromosomes. Right. Let's see what is the difference between this. What is a gene and what is chromosome? Now let's look more closely at just nature. Nature refers to the contribution of genetics to one's development. The basic building block of the nature perspective is the gene. Genes are recipes for making proteins. While proteins influence the structure and functions of the cells, genes are located on the chromosomes, and there are an estimated 20 to 20,500 genes for humans, according to the Human Genome Project. Right. Now, I don't know whether you understood what is gene and what is chromosomes. Did you understand? Hello. Did you understand what is a gene and what is a chromosome? Hello.
Yes, sir.
I have some idea about it, but we can go through the notes now, sir, after you send.
Yeah. Now say normal human cells contain 46 chromosomes, right? Normal human cells contain 46 chromosomes, right? They are of 23 pairs, right? Now, if you get a small human cell right now of a small child or something, he has 26 chromosomes, right? These chromosomes, right, are pairs of 23 pairs from parent, I mean from father, and 23 from mother, right? Normal human cells contain 46 chromosomes in the nucleus of the cells. In our cells, in the nucleus, right, there are 46. So there are 23 pairs, right? After conception, most cells of the body are created by process called mitosis. I told you it is mitosis. I told it what did I say it is? Meiosis, no? It is mitosis. Sorry. Can you correct it, please? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Mitosis, right? Mitosis. Mitosis is defined as the cell's nucleus making an exact copy of the chromosomes and splitting into two new cells. Cell division is mitosis, right? Now, these 23 pairs are like this. 22 pairs decide all the other genetic characteristics, but one pair from the mother and the other pair from the father decide the sex of the the newborn. Now, 23 pairs each from both parents are there in this child cells. In the nucleus of the child cells, how many pairs are there? How many?
23.
23 means altogether 46 chromosomes are there, right? Out of these, 22 contain genetic information. I told you, intelligence, maybe color of eyes, skin, and all that. But one pair alone, right? One pair from both parent and the, both parents decide the sex of the child. Right? That is called, usually mothers have some, X chromosomes. They have X chromosomes, both X and Y. If that sex determining pair of genes, right? Now suppose mother always gives X only, no? Right? If father delivers X, what will the child be? Male or a female? Hello?
Female.
Female. Mother always delivers X, but if the father happens to deliver Y, what will happen? That child becomes a male. Right? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
However, the cells used in sexual production called the game states or sperm of oval are formed in a process called meiosis. In meiosis, the game sticks chromosomes duplicate and then divide twice, resulting in 4 cells containing only half the genetic material of the original gene. Thus, each sperm and egg possesses only 22 chromosomes and combine to produce the normal 46. Right. Cell division are two types, mitosis and meiosis. Right. You can read and get some idea. Right. Of the 23 pairs of chromosomes created at conception, 22 pairs are similar in length. They are called autosomes. The remaining pair or sex chromosome, as I mentioned, may differ in length. If a child receives the combination of X and Y, the child will be genetically male. If the child receives the combination of X and X, the child may be genetically female. Is it clear to you now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
this genotypes and phenotypes or patterns on inheritance. The word genotype refers to the sum total of all the genes of a person inherit. The word phenotype refers to the features that are actually expressed. Now you can read these things, right? You can understand right now dominant, recessive genes and all that. The information I gave. Genetic disorders means, right, some of the diseases, right, we which are carried, which are passed to us. The parents had diabetes, there is a tendency for children also to get developed. But if the child is brought up in a very healthy environment where he's involved in a lot of physical activities and exercise and all that, right, sporty environment, then those things might not materialize because his environment did not support that genetic makeup. Likewise, there are factors, there are things which the environmental factors affect for our genetic makeup, so that certain things are expressed and certain things are not expressed. So recessive disorders, you can read this, but once you are ready to, we can have a discussion, right? So and these things are not very important, so I'm skipping them, right? And some of these diseases are also mentioned here, right? So now here we see, right, prenatal development. This is the topic I wanted to start, right? Now remember, from this point onwards, you have to read and make a short note. Prenatal development. Now we turn our attention to prenatal development, which is divided into 3 periods. Prenatal period we can divide into 3 periods: the germinal period, the embryonic period, and the fetal period. Right. We'll see the germinal period. The germinal period is about 14 days in length, lasts from conception to implantation of the fertilized egg in the lining of the uterus. And ejaculation, millions of sperm are really, what is this? Right, this is, we are going to discuss how it happens. At ejaculation means the releasing of sperms by a male in the course of your physical union with a female, right? Right. When sperm is ejaculation means the spilling of sperm, right? At the time of ejaculation, what happens? Millions of sperms are released into the vagina, but only a few reach the egg, and typically only one fertilizes the egg. Now, this is why I call, right, life is a race from the beginning. Millions of sperms are fighting with each other to go and, right, fertilize the single cell available. So the fastest and the strongest wins the race. Once a single sperm has entered the wall of the egg, the wall becomes hard and prevents other sperm from entering. After the sperm has entered the egg, the tail of the sperm breaks off, and the head of the sperm containing the genetic information from the father unites with the nucleus of the egg. It is typically fertilized in the top section of the fallopian tube and continues its journey to the uterus. As a result, a new cell is formed. This cell, containing the combined genetic information from both parents, is referred to as a zygote. Is it clear to you, my dears, now? Hello? Hello? Are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
So this is what I explained earlier, is they are in a short, very short note. Can you understand it now? Hello?
Yes. Yes, sir.
You can see the picture of how it happens. During this time, the organism begins cell division through mitosis. I told you this. After 5 days of mitosis, there are 100 cells. I told you that also, which is now called a blastocyst. After five days of cell division, how many cells are there? Single cell is divided into 100 cells, right?
100 cells.
After 5 days, it's given a name called blastocyst. Right. This blastocyst consists of both an inner and outer group of cells. Now this 100 cells has inner set. Now hundreds are there, no? So it has inner cells and outer cells. What happens is this inner group of cells forms the child, while the outer group of cells forms the supporting system. Right. The inner group of cells or embryonic disc will become the embryo, means the basic part of the child, while the outer group of cells or trophoblast becomes the support system which nourishes the developing organism. This stage ends when the blastocyst fully implants into the uterine wall. Right. Now you see. Uterus means your womb, right? Now see, can you see the picture? Right? Day 1, right? One cell. 2 days, 2 cells. 3 days means 4 cells. 4 days means 8 cells, right? And 5 days means how many cells? 100 cells. This is called early blastocyst. After that, what happens? It gets stuck to the wall of the uterus. Right. Mitosis is a fragile process, and fewer than 1/2 of all zygotes survive beyond the first 2 weeks. Some of the reasons of this include the egg and the sperm do not join properly, thus their genetic material does not combine. There is too little or damaged genetic material. Now, up to this right now, can you remember the? Can you understand the process up to the 8th day? Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
So after 8 days, what happens? It gets this embryo. This zygote, what happens? It's get planted on the uterus wall. Now you can see it is planted firmly, right? But now do all zygotes, right, get planted like this? Huh? Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Now my question is, do all zygotes get planted like this? No.
No.
It is read this. Meiosis is a fragile process, and fewer than 1/2 of all zygotes. Completely, only 50% of the zygotes will survive beyond the first 2 weeks. Beyond 2 weeks, they won't go. Sometime more than half of these zygotes. Why? Due to various reasons. The reasons are sperm and the egg do not match, or they do not join properly, right? Or there is some damaged genetic material in them, or sometimes zygotes do not replicate, right? Or due to blastocyst not implanting properly into uterine wall. Likewise, there are very high failure rate for these zygotes. Right? So only 50% will survive. Right? That is during what was the period? Now we first, what is this first period called? The germinal period. Right? I think I need not to give you a note. Do you want me to give a note on this? Can you write down these things? Hello.
Do
Hello.
you want us to write now?
No. Later on. Now I am asking right now. If I give you a note, it would be a waste of time, no? Right?
Yes.
But I'm
we
telling
can
you
reply.
this now under prenatal development, right?
Yes.
Right? you write there are 3 periods. What are those periods? Germinal period, right? Embryonic period and fetal period, right? Now under germinal period, you write down this note. Is it clear to you?
Yes.
Then write down, then we'll come to this. If you can draw a picture of this thing also, it would give you a clear idea. Then the next period is the embryonic period, right? This starts first 2 weeks is the germinal period. If successful, or if the blastocyst is able to survive beyond 2 weeks, then it goes to the embryonic period. So embryonic period start in the 3rd week. Start in the 3rd week, the blastocyst has implanted into the uterine wall. Upon implantation, this multicellular organism is called an embryo. Right? Do you understand? By the 3rd week, if it is able to survive, what happens? The blastocyst has implanted properly in the uterine wall. Right? After being implanted, right? This is a multicellular organism, because there are many cells, like we have learned, because of the cell distribution, cell division, it has become a multicellular organism. This is called an embryo. After 2 weeks, after 3 weeks, it is called what? Earlier it was called what? At the initial stage it was zygote, then it was called what?
Embryo.
Embryo, no, not now only we are saying it embryo. Earlier it was not embryo. Beginning it was zygote. Zygote became what? You see? Blastocyst. Blastocyst, right? Blastocyst, right? Once it is planted on the uterine wall and it passes 2 stages, 2 weeks, then it reaches the embryonic period. Then it becomes an embryo. Yeah. Starting the 3rd week, the blastocyst has planted into the uterine wall. Upon implantation, this multicellular organism is called an embryo. Is it clear to you now? Do you understand or not? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
දැන් ඔයාලට තේරුණාද දැන් මේ එම්බ්‍රියොනික් පීරියඩ් එකට එනකල් දැන් ඉස්සල්ලාම අපි සයිගොට් කියලා කියවනේ සයිගොට් එක තමයි මොකද දවස් 8ක් ගියාට පස්සේ 5ක් ගියාට පස්සේ බ්ලාස්ටෝසිස්ට් එකක් වෙන්නේ. ඒ බ්ලාස්ටෝසිස්ට් එක දවස් 8ක් විතර ගියාට පස්සේ එයා ගිහිල්ලා අර යුටේරියන් වෝල් එකට මේ වූම් එකේ වෝල් එකට මෙයා ප්ලාන්ට් වෙනවා. ප්ලාන්ට් වුණ ඒ කාලේ වෙනකල් මොකද වෙන්නේ? සාමාන්‍ය මේ එන සයිගොට්ස් මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඒවෙන් ඇති වෙන සයිගොට් අපි ඕන කෙනෙක්ගෙන් ඇති වෙනවානේ සෙක්ෂුවල් මේ අපි මේ සෙක්ෂුවල් ට්‍රාන්සැක්ෂන් එකකින් පස්සේ මේකක් පිළිසිඳ ගැනීමක් වුණාට ඒ පිළිසිඳ ගැනීම තියෙන්නේ කොච්චර කාලයේද? ඒකෙන් පිළිසිඳ ගැනීම වලින් කීයද සාර්ථක වෙන්නේ? මේ ස්ටේජ් එක පහු කරන්නේ 50% විතරයි. හරි මේ ස්ටේජ් එක පහු කරන්නේ 50% විතරයි. ඒ කියන්නේ 50%ක්ම අර ස්ටේජ් එකේදී මැරලා යනවා. මොකද ඒ විවිධ හේතු. මොනවද කියන්නේ සමහර වෙලාවට මේ සෙල්ස් ගැලපෙන්නේ නැහැ, සෙල්ස් වල ඩැමේජ් සෙල්ස් තියෙනවා. සමහර ඒවා හරියට ඉම්ප්ලාන්ට් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම ප්‍රශ්න මොකක්ම කර වෙලා මෙයා වෙනවා. බැරි වෙලාවත් මේ සති දෙක මෙයා සර්වයිව් වුණෙන් පස්සේ ඔන්න එයා එනවා මොකෙද්ද මේ පීරියඩ් එකට එම්බ්‍රියොනික් පීරියඩ් එක. ඒක පටන් ගන්නේ 3rd week එක. ඒක තේරෙනවද? ඒ 3rd week එකේ වෙනකොට මෙයා මොකද වෙන්නේ? බ්ලාස්ටෝසිස්ට් එක යුටෙරින් වෝල් එකට ඇලිලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙම තියෙනකොට මේ ඕගනිසම් එක ඇවිල්ලා මල්ටිසෙලුලර් ඕගනිසම් මෙයාට කියනවා එම්බ්‍රියෝ එකක් කියලා. පැහැදිලිද ඔයාලට? Is it clear to you all up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Now the blood vessels grow, forming the placenta. The placenta is a structure connected to the uterus that provides nourishment and oxygen from the mother to the developing embryo via the umbilical cord. Now what happens, right? Blood vessels grow, forming the placenta. There's something called placenta is grown, right? In which, right, blood vessels grow, right? Now blood vessels grow, forming the placenta is there is something called placenta is developed in the child, right? What does it create? What is I mean, how is the placenta created? It is with the blood vessels. The placenta is a structure connected to the uterus. What is a placenta? It is a structure connected to the uterus that provides nourishment and oxygen from the mother to the developing embryo via the umbilical cord. You know what's called umbilical cord? It's something which carries nutrition and oxygen from mother to the child, right? During this period, cell continues to differentiate. Even this period, cells start differentiating, means creating differences. Growth during prenatal development occurs in two major directions. During this period, right, the growth is divided into two different the growth of a child happens in two directions, two major directions. What are they? They are given special names. The growth from head to tail called cephalocaudal development. If the growth from head to tail called cephalocaudal development, and from the midline outward referred to as proximodistal development. This means that those structures nearest the head develops before those nearest the feet, and those structures nearest the torso develop than the hands. Do you understand what is meant? Do you understand what is meant here? Our development happens in two ways, right? So they are given two different names. What are they? Cephalocaudal development and proximodistal development. What are they? Hello. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Cephalocaudal and proximodistal.
කියන්නේ අපේ දැන් අර පොඩි එක්කලා දැන් අපි දැන් මේ එම්බ්‍රියෝ එක ඩෙවලොප් වෙන විදිහ මේ කියන්නේ. විදි ආකාර දෙකකට ඩෙවලොප් වෙනවා. එකක් කියනවා cephalocaudal කියලා කියනවා, අනික කියනවා proximodistal කියලා. cephalocaudal කියලා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? හෙඩ් එකේ ඉඳන් ටෝ එකට වෙනකල් වෙන ඩෙවලොප්මන්ට් එක. ඒකෙන් කියන්නේ ඉස්සෙල්ලාම හෙඩ් එකේ හෙඩ් පාර්ට් එක හෙඩ් එක පැත්ත තමයි ඩෙවලොප් වෙන්නේ කකුල් වලට ඉස්සෙල්ලා. හරිද? ඊළඟට මේ proximodistal කියලා කියන්නේ කඳේ ඇඟේ කඳේ මැදේ ඉඳන් ඉස්සරහට තමයි දෙපැත්තට තමයි ඩෙවලොප්මන්ට් එක. එතකොට ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඩෙවලොප්මන්ට් එක වෙන්නේ අත්වලද පපුව හරියද මැදද? කොහෙද වෙන්නේ? ටෝසෝ කියලා කියන්නේ මේ ඇඟේ අපි කඳ හරිය තමයි ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඩෙවලොප් වෙන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි අනික් කොටස් ඩෙවලොප් වෙගෙන යන්නේ. පැහැදිලිද? ඒ වගේම ඉස්සෙල්ලාම ඩෙවලොප් වෙන්නේ ඔළුව. දැන් අපි දැකලා තියෙනවනේ පොඩි ළමයින් ගැන නිකන් අර ඉහිගෙඩියෙක් වගේ ඉන්නේ ඔළුව ලොකුයි අනික් කොටස පොඩිනේ. ඒක ඔළුව. හරි ඔළුවෙන් පටන් අරගෙන තමයි පල්ලෙහාට ඩෙවලොප්මන්ට් එක වෙන්නේ. මේ ඩෙවලොප්මන්ට් වෙන ආකාර දෙක තමයි අපි කිව්වේ මොකද්ද? ඇහුවොත් එහෙම මතක තියාගන්න cephalocaudal and proximodistal. Cephalocaudal කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? Development from head to toe. That means parts near the head develops earlier than parts near the toe. So proximodistal means parts near the torso develop than parts outside the body. Is it clear to you now?
Yes, sir.
ඔය බාන්න කොහමද අර හුණෙක් වගේ ඉන්නේ ඔය ළමයා පේනවනේ human embryo එකේ shape එක you can see. Okay, right. The head develops in the fourth week. Fourth week එක වෙනකොට head එක develop වෙනවා, right? And the precursor to the heart begins to pulse. මොකද වෙන්නේ? heart එක pulse වෙන්න පටන් ගන්නවා මේ කාලේ වෙනකොට. In the early stages of embryonic period, gills and tails are apparent. මේ මොනවද කියන්නේ? මේ during this period gills and tails are apparent. gill එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? කරමල් වගේ ඒවා තියෙනවා අපි පේන්න තියෙනවා. ඊළඟට tail කියන්නේ නා වලිගිකුත් පේන්න තියනවලු මේ මුල් period එකේදී. හැබැයි මේවා හැලිලා යනවා. However, by the end of this stage, they disappear and the organism takes more of a human appearance. Is it clear to you, my dears?
Yes, sir.
Make a band right now. We said right during the germinal period, only 50% of the zygotes last. Now say about 20% of organisms fail during the embryo. මොකද වෙන්නේ? අර 150 හැනුත් තව 120ක් විතර fail වෙනවලු. embryonic period එකේදීත් මෙයාට survive වෙන්න බෑ. ඉතින් මේ කාලෙදි මොකද මේ කියන්නේ මේ ගබ්සා වීම වෙනවා. ඔය අපි දන්නේවත් නැහැ. right? මේවා ඇත්තටම දන්නේවත් නැතුව වෙන ගබ්සා වීම. right? Do you understand that? Now here, right, certain right, these things are destroyed even without mother's or father's knowledge. These abortions take place. These are right. These are really kind of natural abortions, not forced abortions. About 20% of organisms fail during the embryonic period, usually due to gross chromosomal abnormalities. Often before the mother even knows that she is pregnant. It is during this stage that the major structure of the bodies are taking form, making the embryonic period the time when the organism is most vulnerable to the greatest amount of damage if exposed to harmful substances. Do you understand this? This is the period during which, right, this is the period during which the organisms are highly vulnerable to danger, right? If anyhow, if the organism is exposed to any harmful substances during this period, a lot of damage can happen to it. Prospective mothers are not often aware of the risks they introduce to the developing embryo during this time. But the problem is the mother doesn't know that she is pregnant at this stage. So she may continue the way that she leads her life. So sometimes her habits, bad habits, or her practices might become fatal to the child. Now the mother doesn't know, because mother doesn't know that she is pregnant, because this is the third week. Right? How long does a mother get to know that she is pregnant? Hello. Usually, how long does it take for a woman to understand she is pregnant? Hello. Huh?
1 to 2 months like period, sir?
Yeah, actually it is 1 month. Once it is 1 month, right? What happens, right? She starts, right? I mean, when her cycle stop, right? Right? She has a suspicion that something might have happened, but for the confirmation it takes another 2 weeks, like, right? Yeah, actually when it is about 2 months only, right, mother is surely knows that's how, right, she is pregnant. So but here we are talking about the 4th week. By this week the mother never knows that she is pregnant. As a result, she might not take become I mean she might not become she might not take precautions. Now any woman, right, when she knows that she is pregnant, she takes great care of herself and the child. But for that to happen, that woman should know that she is pregnant. Here this is the period where she doesn't know that she is pregnant. Do you understand? Hello. Right?
Yes, sir.
This is up.
Yes, sir.
This up until the 4th week. During this period, the right, children are at the highest risk of being being exposed to danger. Right. Right. The embryo is approximately 1 inch in length and weight about 4 grams at the end of 8 weeks. Right. Then that means the second month. The embryo can move and respond to the touch at this time. Right. So we here right now we have discussed up to which point? Our 2 stages of prenatal development we have discussed. You can take a note. The fetal period is there. You can read that also and take a note. I will explain from the, here onwards the next day. Is it all right? Hello.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now please tell me, did you understand today's lesson?
Hmm.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. And we need
Yes,
some further readings.
Yeah. Yes, my dear. I don't hear you properly. What?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
sir.
did, and we did like the reading on it, so we'll make more clear.
Yeah.
Still I didn't get what you said. What was it? What is more clear?
No, sir, we understood, but after we got the document, we can have more idea about it.
Okay, now the document is there, no, right? Can you read it at home, Shirley?
Yes, can.
So please read that part. Read this part, prenatal development, when you come next day, right? And then the part relevant to toddlerhood also please read and come, right? When you go to the content pages, you can select the areas you have to select, read, right? Now, but don't complain me that this is too big and all that, because this is a book containing about 600 pages, right? Now, as I told you earlier, right, if you can read it fully, right, it's quite good and all right, very good for your knowledge. But I will really point out to you only the relevant areas. Reading those areas and making a short note is quite enough for our purpose. But for extra knowledge and your proficiency in psychology and all that, you can read everything. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
So next day, right, I don't know what the next day would be, right, because I could not do the class on Tuesday. So Arshad sir told me that he would fix one for this weekend. Basically, maybe I told him, right, if it would be convenient for me to do it either on Friday, of course not tomorrow, maybe next Sunday evening, like, or maybe Sunday evening, right, or next Tuesday evening, right? Anyway, right, he will let you know. So we are going to wind up now. So until we meet up next time, I hope it would be better for you to read this. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right, then
Thank you,
bye
sir.
to all of you, right?
Okay. Good night, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.